Winter blackouts are no joke, and being caught unprepared can turn a tough situation into a full-blown disaster. Don't wait until the power's out and the temperature inside your house starts dropping. Act now! In this video, we're breaking down 8 absolute must-haves you need to survive a winter blackout. Forget the fluff, we're giving you the essentials. No excuses. Ignore these, and you'll be the one regretting it while struggling to stay warm in the freezing dark. It's time to take action and protect yourself, your family, and your home. Before we jump into the list, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we've got plenty more must-know tips coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on practical advice that could make all the difference when things go south. All right, now onto the list. Pay attention. 1. Backup heating sources. When winter storms knock out power, your heating system is likely the first casualty. Without an alternative heat source, you're one step closer to hypothermia. Yes, it's that serious. You think layering up with blankets and sweaters will save you? It won't. If you don't prepare in advance, you're leaving yourself entirely vulnerable to the cold. Heating is not just nice to have in a blackout, it's essential for staying alive. Whether you're snowed in for hours, days, or even weeks, backup heating sources could mean the difference between life and death. Portable propane or kerosene heaters are your go-to saviors in a blackout. These are designed to keep spaces warm even when your power is out. Don't even consider using standard electric heaters. You might as well light a candle and hope it does the job. For propane heaters, Mr. Heater Buddy is a solid choice. It's compact, portable, and heats up to 200 square feet, making it perfect for smaller rooms. If you're trying to heat larger spaces, a Dynaglow kerosene heater is what you need. These machines are reliable and pack enough power to keep your family comfortable when conditions outside are less than forgiving. But buying a heater isn't enough. You need safety features because these devices can become deadly hazards if used irresponsibly. Always opt for units with tip-over protection, oxygen depletion sensors, and overheat protection. Tip-over protection shuts the heater off if it's knocked over, preventing accidental fires. Oxygen depletion sensors monitor the air for reduced oxygen levels, so you don't find yourself suffocating in the middle of the night. Overheat protection ensures the heater doesn't turn into an uncontrollable fireball in case of extended use. Get these features. Period. Now don't think you can just fire up one of these heaters without taking ventilation seriously. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a killer, and it's silent. Crack a window open in any room you're heating to allow air circulation. Don't argue with physics on this one. Even better, install a carbon monoxide detector. They're inexpensive, easy to use, and will literally save lives. If you don't already have one, add it to your shopping list. Seriously, this isn't optional. Finally, having the right tools is useless without a solid stockpile of fuel. Propane and kerosene are only helpful if you have enough to last through the worst of the storm. Don't wait until the first snowflake touches the ground to start shopping. By then, shelves will be empty and you'll be out of luck. Stock up on propane tanks and kerosene well in advance. Propane tanks should be stored outdoors in ventilated areas to avoid gas buildup. Don't shove them in your garage or basement. It's a recipe for disaster. The same goes for kerosene. Store it in proper containers and keep it in a safe, dry place. If you're hearing this and thinking, it'll never happen to me, think again. Every winter, people lose power for longer than they expected, and many end up regretting not being better prepared. You don't want to be the person scrambling to keep warm with oven mitts and hope. Get your heating strategy in place now, or prepare to suffer the consequences. 2. Portable solar generators. When the power goes out during a brutal winter blackout, scrambling in the dark without heat, charge devices, or sufficient lighting is a nightmare you'll want to avoid. This is where portable solar generators come in. They're non-negotiable if you value having any semblance of preparation. Forget noisy fuel-guzzling gas generators. Modern solar generators are quiet, safe, and endlessly reusable. Once you've got one, you'll wonder why you didn't make the investment sooner. The benefits are straightforward. These generators provide a reliable power source for essential items like phones, laptops, medical devices, lights, and even small appliances. Unlike traditional gas-powered generators, they're silent and fume-free. No obnoxious roaring engine, no toxic exhaust creeping into your home. And the best part? You're not tethered to a constant need for fuel, which not only drains your wallet, but often becomes scarce during an emergency. A decent solar generator paired with efficient panels can harness the power of the sun indefinitely. It's a self-sustaining solution, exactly what you need in a crisis. But here's the kicker. Not all portable solar generators are created equal. If you think you can grab just any model off the shelf, you're setting yourself up for failure. You need to assess 3 critical features to make sure the generator meets your needs. First, focus on power output. Think about what you're trying to keep running during that blackout. Charging phones? Running a medical device? powering a small heater or fridge for a few hours? Something like the Jackery Explorer 500 with 500 watts of power is a solid option for charging multiple devices simultaneously. But if you aim to keep small appliances running, the EcoFlow Delta 1300 is a real beast. It packs a whopping 1260 watt-hours, good enough for appliances that actually matter during emergencies. Next up, battery capacity. A generator with lackluster battery storage is as good as useless after a couple of hours. You're buying this to last, right? Evaluate how long it can power your essentials before you need to recharge. And finally, consider charging time. Slow recharging solar panels aren't going to cut it in the middle of a multi-day outage. Clean, high-efficiency solar panels can make or break your situation. Positioning the panels correctly, angled toward the sun without obstruction, will maximize their efficiency. Here's another pro tip for efficiency. Look into expandable models that allow for additional battery storage. This ensures you're not limited to the base capacity, giving you even more flexibility in longer outages. Also, don't neglect the small stuff. Keeping a couple of USB power banks charged and handy can save you when all you need is to juice up your phone or flashlight for a couple more hours. Winter blackouts aren't the time to gamble with an inferior generator or rely on luck to get you through. A portable solar generator could be the difference between just surviving and surviving comfortably. Get one. Get the right one. And make sure you know how to use it efficiently before the storm hits. Because once the power's out, it's too late to figure it all out. Don't regret being unprepared for something completely preventable. 3. Water storage and purification. You might think you're ready for a winter blackout, but are you prepared to deal with no water? Here's the brutal truth. If frozen pipes, broken water pumps, or a failure at the water treatment plant happen, your faucets will run dry. No water supply means no drinking water, no hygiene, and no way to flush your toilet. Without a proper plan, this can turn into a survival nightmare faster than you think. Water storage, don't wing it. Most people underestimate how much water they actually need during an emergency. General rule of thumb, store at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. Knock that up to 2 gallons per person daily during winter months when hydration is critical, and more water is wasted on basic hygiene. Think that sounds like overkill? Just wait until you're elbow deep in snow trying to melt enough for a single bucket of water. Here's the cold, hard reality. If you don't have water stored properly before the outage, you're scrambling when it's already too late. Portable solutions like Reliance Aquatainers are great since they hold 7 gallons and are easy to transport. Looking for long-term options? 50-gallon water barrels are the heavy hitters for families or those who want to feel safe. And for worst-case scenarios, invest in a water bob. It can hold up to 100 gallons in your bathtub, turning what looks like an unnecessary purchase into a lifesaver when disaster strikes. Purification, because bad water is worse. No matter how clean it looks, emergency water sources like melted snow or collected rainwater are not safe to drink without purification. Waterborne illnesses during blackouts are a real and common threat. Boiling your water is the foolproof solution. Get it to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute to kill pathogens. But boiling isn't always possible if your power and gas are out. That's where backup purification tools come in. The Life Straw is a no-nonsense, life-saving device that purifies water as you drink it on the go, no hassle. And don't overlook basic water purification tablets. Cheap, compact, and highly effective for sanitizing water on the spot. Whether you're melting snow or draining your water bob, purification isn't optional. Skipping this prep step? That's gambling with your health. Hygiene not optional even in a crisis. A dry home in the dead of winter doesn't mean you can neglect hygiene. Having wet wipes, alcohol-based hand sanitizers, and disposable gloves is critical for keeping yourself clean without wasting your valuable water supply. And the unglamorous but utterly practical tip? Having water on hand for manual toilet flushing. Don't kid yourself. A few days without a functioning toilet can quickly turn into a health hazard. Last-minute prep hacks. If you know a big storm or blackout is on the way, act immediately. Fill up every bathtub and container you have with water. This is your emergency reserve for drinking, cleaning, and flushing. It's not ideal, but you'll count yourself lucky when the water stops flowing. Bluntly put, failing to prep for a water crisis during a winter blackout is asking for misery. Store enough water now. Buy the tools to purify it. Plan for hygiene needs. Waiting until the water is gone will leave you desperately searching in sub-zero conditions, and no one's coming to save you. 4. Firewood and tools. When winter blackouts strike, surviving without a reliable heat source can turn deadly fast. If your home is equipped with a wood stove or fireplace, firewood isn't just a heating option, it's a necessity. You can't afford to dismiss its importance when temperatures drop and staying warm becomes a battle. Beyond warmth, having access to firewood also gives you the ability to cook food and boil water. which are critical survival needs in any prolonged outage. If you're not prepared, you're setting yourself up for discomfort at best and disaster at worst. Don't think you can get by with any random pile of firewood. Quality matters. Hardwoods like oak or hickory are the way to go because they burn hotter and longer than softwoods. Trying to use freshly cut wood? Forget it. Unseasoned wood is a smoke-filled headache waiting to happen and will coat your chimney with dangerous creosote. You need seasoned wood, logs that have been dried for at least 6-12 months. Keep your firewood stacked off the ground, sheltered from rain or snow, and ventilated. Damp wood is useless and will make your problems worse. Having firewood is one thing, but without the right tools for the job, you might as well give up. A sturdy axe or hatchet is a must-have for splitting logs into manageable sizes. A chainsaw? Even better, especially if you're faced with cutting larger trees or branches. Don't skimp on quality here. Cheap tools will fail when you need them most, and mid-crisis is not the time for hardware malfunctions. Make sure you've stocked up on fire starters too. Matches, lighters, ferro rods, or even fat wood are essential to ignite your fire reliably. Don't assume you can rely on convenience. A dead lighter or damp matches could leave you fumbling in the cold. No wood stove or fireplace? You're not off the hook. A portable wood-burning stove, like the Solo Stove Campfire, is an effective backup solution. Compact and relatively smoke-free, these stoves are lifesavers in a pinch. However, they're just that, a backup. Prolonged periods without power demand a sustainable solution, and nothing beats a well-prepared wood stash. The bottom line? If you're not outfitted with firewood, tools, and a way to use them, you're gambling with your safety. Winter blackouts are unforgiving, and ignoring the proper preparation will leave you bitterly cold and regretting every bad decision. Don't cut corners, get your firewood and tools in order now, or prepare to suffer the consequences. 5. Insulated blankets. When the temperature drops and the power goes out, staying warm becomes a survival priority. Insulated blankets are a non-negotiable item on your winter blackout checklist. Without them, you're flirting with hypothermia and making an already dire situation worse. Don't think a regular throw blanket will cut it. This is about strategic warmth, not comfort alone. First off, Mylar emergency blankets need to be in your arsenal. These shiny, crinkly lifesavers might not feel luxurious, but they'll reflect up to 90% of your body heat back to you. They're compact, waterproof, and practically weightless, meaning you can stash them anywhere without excuses. They'll keep you alive, that's their job. Now, if you're planning ahead and not just reacting, a good wool blanket belongs in your toolkit. Wool is a survivalist's best friend because it retains heat even when it's wet. That's a killer feature in harsh, damp conditions. It's also naturally moisture-resistant, giving you an extra layer of protection from the elements. High-quality brands like Ectos or Arcturus are worth every penny. Cheap substitutes are a false economy. Get the real deal. Looking for something more versatile? Fleece-lined survival blankets combine the best of both worlds. They marry Mylar's heat-reflecting properties with the added comfort of fleece. You stay warm without feeling like you're wrapped in tinfoil. These are perfect if you're hunkered down for longer periods and need something that feels more livable. But insulated blankets aren't just for wrapping yourself up. Their versatility in a blackout scenario is unmatched. Use them to line windows and block drafts from doors. They'll trap the precious heat inside your space. Place them under you to prevent heat loss to a cold floor. Thermal layering is your ticket to survival when temperatures plummet. Stacking Mylar and wool blankets maximizes heat retention, ensuring you're prepared for the long haul. Here's the blunt truth. If you're unprepared with proper blankets, you're headed for misery, if not outright danger. Share the warmth by bundling together under larger blankets with family members. It's not just efficient, it's crucial. Heat management in a blackout isn't optional, it's life or death. Insulated blankets should be your first-line defense against the cold when the grid fails. Don't underestimate their value. Ignoring this could cost you more than your comfort. Stay ready. 6. LED flashlights and lantern. When a winter blackout hits and darkness creeps in early, you'll regret not being prepared with proper lighting. Light is not just a convenience during blackouts, it's a necessity. Scrambling around in the dark increases the risk of accidents, and there's no excuse not to have reliable LED lighting options ready to go. Start with LED flashlights. These are the backbone of emergency lighting, providing bright, focused light whenever you need it. They're durable, battery efficient, and should last you throughout a prolonged power outage if you've got quality ones like the Gearlight Zone 1000 in your kit. Don't skimp on cheap knockoffs that die just when you need them most. Invest in ones that work when it counts. Next up are LED lanterns, which are lifesavers when you need to light up an entire room. With 360-degree coverage, lanterns like the Atexity LED camping lanterns ensure you're not sitting in the pitch dark for hours on end. These are perfect for creating a central lighting source in your living room, kitchen, or anywhere your family gathers during a blackout. You'll also want headlamps. During a winter outage, your hands will be busy tackling essential tasks like cooking, fixing, or carrying items, and you don't have the luxury of holding a flashlight. Hands-free options like the Black Diamond Spot 350 free up your hands and provide focused directional lighting wherever you turn your head. It's a genius tool that you won't appreciate until you absolutely need it. For added safety and convenience, consider investing in motion-activated LED lights for hallways and staircases. These ensure that even during sudden outages, key walking areas stay illuminated without you fumbling around for a light source. But remember, all of these tools mean nothing without power. Spare batteries, especially AA and AAA, should be stocked like your life depends on it, because it might. Better yet, opt for rechargeable batteries and a solar generator to ensure you're not left in the dark when the power's out for days. Now, for safety advice that you must follow, don't even think about using candles or oil lamps. Sure, they're old-fashioned light sources, but they're also open flames and a massive fire hazard during blackouts. One wrong move or an accidental knock, and you're not just dealing with a lack of power. You're dealing with a disaster. Stick to safe, modern lighting options. Do yourself a favor and check your lighting supplies today. Waiting until the blackout begins to think about lighting is a surefire way to regret it. 7. Non-perishable foods. When a winter blackout hits and you're stuck without power, non-perishable foods are your lifeline, period. You might think you can just figure it out when the time comes, but that's a recipe for regret. Stocking up on the right non-perishable foods now could mean the difference between staying nourished and scrambling for whatever leftovers you have. Spoiler alert! Your fridge isn't going to stay cold when the power's out. Here's what you need. Canned goods should be your first priority. Think vegetables, beans, soups, and even canned meats. Yes, canned chicken or tuna might not be glamorous, but it will keep you alive. Also grab easy-to-eat items like peanut butter, granola bars, and crackers. These are no-prep, high-energy choices that won't spoil and will keep you functional. Don't forget freeze-dried meals, like those from Mountain House or similar brands. Add hot water and you've got a solid meal. While you're at it, store staples like rice, pasta, and oats. These dried foods won't go bad anytime soon and provide bulk calories when you need them most. Speaking of preparation, you need to know how to cook or heat up food when there's no electricity. Propane or camping stoves are non-negotiable in this scenario. If you don't have one, buy it now. You seriously don't want to be trying to figure this out during a blackout when stores are either closed or wiped clean. You'll also want to stash snacks that offer a quick energy boost, such as nuts, trail mix, or dried fruit. They're lightweight, easy to store, and excellent when you're short on time or motivation. Here's the deal on maintenance. It's not enough to just throw some cans in a pantry and call it done. You need to schedule routine checks for expiration dates. Food doesn't last forever. Even shelf-stable items have limits. Replace older stock before it's too late. This seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people grab their survival bins during an emergency only to discover half their stash expired months, or worse, years ago. Don't be that person. Lastly, morale matters. Eating the same bland food over and over again can start to wear you down. Toss in a few comfort items like chocolate, instant coffee, or even powdered drink mixes. These small luxuries can make a huge difference during a tough time. Remember, during a winter blackout, the goal is survival and staying nourished enough to endure until the power comes back. Do not take this point lightly. It's number 7 on the list for a reason. Be prepared or prepare to regret it. 8. First aid kit. If you think a first aid kit is optional during a winter blackout, think again. This isn't just a nice-to-have item, it's an absolute must! Winter conditions can be brutal, and accidents are more likely when you're facing icy surfaces, sharp tools, or freezing temperatures. A well-stocked first aid kit can literally be the difference between a minor issue and a full-blown emergency. Don't skimp on this. Your health and safety depend on it. First and foremost, your kit should cover the basics. Stock up on bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes, and antibiotic ointment. These are your first line of defense against cuts, scrapes, or minor injuries. Winter conditions are unforgiving, and even a small wound can become infected quickly if not treated properly. Don't forget pain relievers like ibuprofen or acetaminophen. They're not just for headaches. They can help reduce swelling and inflammation in case of sprains or other injuries. Allergy medications are another important addition. You never know when an allergic reaction could strike, even in winter. Next, you need to think beyond the basics and prepare for specific winter scenarios. Anti-diarrheal medication, for example, is often overlooked, but can be a lifesaver if you or anyone in your household experiences stomach issues. Digestive problems can sap your energy fast, something you really don't want during an extended blackout. Instant heat packs and emergency thermal blankets are essential for treating cold-related injuries like frostbite or hypothermia. Yes, these things can happen even indoors if you're without power long enough. Include some lip balm and hand cream too. Cracked, dry skin is painful and can make even simple tasks feel impossible. Don't forget prescription medications. This one is non-negotiable. Make sure you have at least a 7-day supply for every family member who needs them. Delays caused by bad weather or blackouts could leave you stranded without access to a pharmacy. Be proactive, not reactive. There are no excuses here. Finally, a first aid manual is more important than you realize. When stress levels are high and you're trying to think on your feet, clear guidance can be a lifesaver, literally. None of those supplies mentioned above are any good if you don't know how to use them properly. The manual ensures you can handle tough situations when medical care may not be immediately available. Bottom line, skip the first aid kit and you're asking for trouble. This isn't just about staying prepared, it's about staying alive. Pack it, stock it, and make it accessible. There's no room for shortcuts when it comes to your well-being during a winter blackout.